If you're on the internet, you've probably seen a ton of information out there wanting you to go crazy, wanting you to go nuts, wanting you to build a side hustle, wanting you to climb the ladder, wanting you to constantly make more, constantly do more, and all of that. Well, if you're tired of that, if you don't necessarily know if that's the right thing for you, well, then today's video is for you because I am going to break down why you should do a side hustle and kind of figuring out whether or not it's the right thing to do, or is there something else you can do? Let's dig into that. So there was a post on Instagram that I happened to come across, and it says that every person that's a dead body now on Mount Everest was once a super motivated person. So maybe chill out a little bit. And at first I just got a good laugh out of it, but at the end of the day, it actually kind of hit home a little bit because I'll be honest, I do a lot of things. I have a YouTube channel, I have 2 or 3 businesses that I run, I'm an IT consultant, I'm a coach, and I love doing all of those things actually. And that's why I do them. But there's an incredible amount of culture out there that just would press you to do a side hustle and make more and do more and be more. And I'm not necessarily thinking that that's for everybody. So I thought I would make a video and talk a little bit about like if you can assess this and if you should do a side hustle and if you should do it. And if not, then what else can you do? I want to talk a little bit about the why. Let's do an assessment and think on whether or not you should start a side hustle. Okay, so here are 3 reasons I really think that side hustles make a lot of sense. Number 1 is that there is a financial gap that you're trying to fill. If you're in debt and you need to relieve yourself of that debt, a side hustle makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense for you to build some other opportunity to make money for yourself. It doesn't have to be super brainy. It doesn't have to be anything that is completely yours. DoorDash or Uber are perfectly good side hustles. Now, I would advocate for something a little bit better, but that's a really good reason to have one, is if there's some sort of financial need that you need to fill or a lifestyle creep to where you're not getting everything that you want. A lifestyle creep, a good example of that is if you're like me and your daughter is actually in college, so it's just you and your wife at home. And my wife is a working professional as well, so I've got some free time. So I work on a YouTube channel, which is self-serving in a lot of ways because it does help me bring in my coaching clients. It does give me a voice in which I can talk about all of the professions and the businesses that I run. But it's a very good reason for me to do it because it's a lifestyle creep. I've got the time and I want to use it honorably. Reason number 2, in order to go ahead and do a side hustle, is that it teaches you a skill that your 9-to-5 job doesn't necessarily teach you. It makes you better at what it is that you're doing. It makes you or gives you another option in life or another skill that you want to do. So you might decide, hey, I'm going to suddenly take up gardening and I'm going to sell my plants. So if it doesn't teach you a skill or give you something that enhances your life, it might just be a high-performing distraction. And reason number 3 that it's a good idea to start a side hustle is if you have a high-stress regular 9-to-5 job and you need a relief. If this is some way for you to enhance your life and increase your life in order to make it a little bit better and be a stress release valve for your 9-to-5, I totally advocate for you getting a side hustle. It doesn't even necessarily have to make you any money. It can absolutely be a piece that just helps you with your creative side. Now, the second topic here that I want to talk about is whether or not your 9-to-5 is enough. And here are a few things that you can use to find out that if it is enough and if you should do more and double down on that as opposed to getting into your side hustle. The first one is looking at the ROI of that. If it's easier for you to get a raise at your work or for you to take a promotion at work or do your work for private on the outside of things, then it probably makes the most sense to double down on that. So if you can get a 10% raise, something like that, just by simply asking for it. Now, that's a secret sauce out there. That does actually happen for people. You can just simply ask for a raise and they will value you and actually do that. I know that that's a little bit crazy, but You could. But let's say that you can get a 10% raise in your $100,000 job and make an extra 10,000 a year. That's a lot easier than spending 500 hours a year trying to build some sort of side hustle where at first you're not going to make an incredible amount of money. I see this a lot in sales professionals, actually. So, like, say you're a real estate agent and you're not making the closes that you actually want to make. It's very easy in a commission based job to think, you know what? I should just go back to the office and just start doing work that way. But remember why you got into it in the first place. You were trying to build a life that you wanted to. And doing something like DoorDash or Uber Eats or something like that is not going to make you the money. It's easier in this case for you to just double down and start making some more calls and start doing some more referral networking and going to some more events so that you can get more people on the books so that you can actually close more deals. Number two tip here is the fact that if you work in a high stakes game, and really no matter what game you work in at your 9 to 5, you work in it all day. And context switching, trying to go from whatever it is you do in your normal life, in your daily life, to switching to another side hustle where you still have to think and still have to do things at night is just going to wear you out more. You're not necessarily going to be able to get the rest and recovery that you need to make sure that you're ready for your 9 to 5 the next day. So if you are going to do a side hustle, make sure that it's something that's going to help you get a little bit of relief there. If it's not, well, then probably it's better to just focus on the 9 to 5 and become better at the 9 to 5 and use that free time to get a little bit of a relief, a little bit of relaxation, and maybe a little bit of exercise. We could all use more of that. Let's talk about optimization over addition. If you are on a clear career path, if you're making enough money in your 9 to 5, if you are working hard enough and you're a top performer, you're on a great promotion path, adding a side hustle can actually make you a B player at work because you don't necessarily have all of the time and your mind is always going to be over here. So making sure that you're doing more than one thing or doing the most in that one thing can actually make a lot of sense here. There's a good saying from the rom-com era that I like, that you can't ride two horses with one ass. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. If your brain is always going to be focused on this side hustle, which is your real passion, then you might be giving up some of what you're actually good at and what you've been doing for a really long time. I know that a lot of people struggle with this. So before you decide to build a side hustle, take a real look and say, like, am I just gonna make myself a B player in my 9 to 5, which actually already does everything that I need it to do? For number three, let's talk about some things that you can do which will help improve your position today. First off, let's talk about the internal side hustle. Now, this is a situation where you maybe have an opportunity to pitch a new idea at your normal 9 to 5. Maybe it's not necessarily something that you're going to do on the side, and it may not even make you more money, but maybe it will give you renewed vigor in your 9 to 5 that you're going to do. So maybe you go to your boss and pitch about a newsletter that you want to do, or a project that you want to do that you can add to the company's bottom dollar, or it might even be something simple like bringing in potluck lunches or something like that. It might be super simple to try to take the reins of something a little bit extra to give you renewed and restored value at your 9 to 5. It might help you with some of that need to go out there and start a side hustle. The second thing that you can do to improve your normal life or your situation right now and to sort of figure out if a side hustle is for you or not is actually a time audit. Now, I want you to audit your time for an entire week. And if you have 5 hours of doom scrolling or sitting there watching television and not really getting anything done, if you have 5 hours of dead time, then maybe a side hustle makes sense. If you don't have that time, a side hustle probably doesn't make a lot of sense because the truth is that you don't have the time in order to do a side hustle. The last thing you want to do is decide that you're going to now add a side hustle on top of an already busy schedule, and suddenly you can't get the kids to soccer practice anymore because you got to make stickers in the garage. And nobody wants to do that. You want a side hustle to be an addition, not something that deteriorates or takes away from what it is that you normally do. And the last thing that you can do that will improve your situation right away is start communicating value. Whether it's to your boss in your normal situation, whether it is in your relationship with your wife, whether it is a part of your normal day or a part of your side hustle, communicating that value is important. I have a golden rule that I like to use, and in any situation that you're in, you want to be in a situation where you put more into the relationship than you get out of it. If you do that, there is no way that it can fail. If you are in a situation where you're adding value and you're communicating that value, you will instantly improve any situation that you're in, whether it is a side hustle, whether it's a relationship with a loved one or a friend, or if it is in your normal position at your 9 to 5 job. Topic number 4 is the path to acceleration. And strategy beats effort all the time. Just putting a bunch of energy into something is just going to lead to exhaustion if you don't have a good map of where you're going to be. This is why people hire coaches like myself. And there's a few reasons why this makes sense. For one, it's the strategy session part of things. It's hiring somebody who has been in a situation like what you're trying to solve to help you build that map so that whenever you're putting effort into something, it goes into the right place. The second is having an objective outsider to sort of explain what you're thinking or to explain what it is the communication path that you're going to take. Having that objective outside person actually does help you because you're trying to explain to somebody who's not necessarily inside of your head. Sometimes just saying something out loud really does help me in a lot of situations. Now, the call to action here is that if you are interested in that, if you think that somebody helping you with this side hustle, with your normal 9 to 5, getting a little more productive, building some financial future, something like that is something that you are interested in, I implore you to go out there and find a coach. Now, I'm a coach and I would love to work with you. You can find my information in the description below. So in the end, I'm going to sum this all up. If you are happy and the bills are paid, then give yourself permission not to hustle. If you are going to hustle, make sure you do it with real endeavors. Make sure that you do it with something that really makes you feel great. If it's just a side hustle for no reason whatsoever, well, then maybe it's a good idea to find something else to do it in. I'd like to have an understanding of what it is that you're going to do this year. Drop a comment in here and tell me, what skills do you want to learn? What side hustles are you thinking? Let's talk about it and have a rap session about it. I'd love to see that. Give me a thumbs up and don't forget to like and subscribe because that helps the algorithm. God knows what the algorithm is doing these days. I don't think anyone has it really figured out, but I am not going to stop making videos like this because the truth is that I really enjoy it. And it's a great place to give me a voice to talk to several people like you. I really appreciate everything that I get out of this, and hopefully you got something too. Either way, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.